Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Renewed Mind Revolution podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I have missed you. I have not been on with you guys anytime recently because I have been adjusting to a new change in my life. The last time we spoke, I told you that I was going back to school to get my master's in divinity and theology, and I am doing it, you guys. I'm sharing with you a very, very huge stepping stone in my life. I went back to school after 20 some odd years, but I am doing it. I'm showing you. I'm not just talking about it, but I'm living what I'm talking about. And that is what adjusting to changes, exploring, becoming a better you. So at this age, I decided, yes, why not? Why not go ahead and complete one of my goals that I've always wanted to do, and that is to get my master's and further on my doctorate. And so I'm so excited to be able to do this and to share and to learn, and then come and share and learn and talk to you as we continue to share tips and tools as to assist you and me in becoming a better you, a better me. It's all about growth. It's all about learning. It's all about experience, sharing our testimonies and our experiences with one another, allowing you to see that you are not alone in the struggles of your life, that you're not alone in the things that you are going through. There are so many people who are experiencing some of the same changes that you are. Listen, I have so much that I want to catch up with you guys. I want to share some stuff that I have learned, that I have seen, and I want to make sure that you are doing great. Make sure that you're doing great. I know that you might have had some challenges, moments throughout this time that we have not connected, but guess what? You are here. That's half the battle. You have made it. I tell you to always remind yourself of that. No matter what it took for you to get here, you are here. That's what I tell myself. No matter how much it took for me to get to the place that I am here. I'm not a survivor, but I am a conqueror. I believe in saying that. And I want you to be encouraged to say that to yourself as well. You are victorious. You survive that downfall. You survive that struggle. You survive that addiction. You survive that issue, that problem, that thing that was designed to take you down, to kill, steal, and destroy. It did not work. You are victorious. So I am so excited to be able to spend another beautiful day with my friends, and talk to you and share with you something that I believe will help you today. Is that right? Something that I can share that will bring a light into that situation and make you think, I didn't think of that before. Now I see that. Let me move forward. So that's what it's all about. Progression, being progressive. And so that's what we do here at Renewed Mind Revolution. This podcast comes from the book of Romans, the 12th chapter, the 2nd verse. Renewed Mind Revolution, about renewing our mind. So when you get a chance, go check that scripture out, and you will clearly understand why this topic of this podcast is Renewed Mind Revolution. Listen, I want to first make sure that you guys are doing okay. There's still a lot of changes, and let me just say this: I can only see more changes coming. So let me be transparent and say, many years ago, one of my biggest hurdles was adjusting to changes. And I don't know about you and how you adjust to changes, but for me, there were so many changes coming up so rapidly in my life that I found it very difficult. And I remember my physician actually said, based upon the levels of my blood pressure and all the different changes that I was going through with my physical body, she actually said, you don't do well with changes. Now, when she said it, I'm gonna be honest, I was offended. Because I said, where is she getting this from? How can she say that? Because she said it very, nonchalant and casual in our, conversation. But now that I think about it, she was being really honest. I really was not handling changes very well, because the changes that I was going through, the different things that I was facing, took a physical toll on my body. It took a physical toll on my body. Now, of course, it's affecting my mind. I'm stressed and tired and exhausted, frustrated, and all of that. But it just did not stay in my mind. It began to affect my body. So we want to make sure that we are approaching our changes in a healthy way. Now, that sounds really strange coming out my mouth, even saying it, but it's important how we look at the changes. Now, one of the things that I've shared with you guys before, and I want you to remember it always, is the only thing that is consistent in this life is change. Hear me again. The only thing that is consistent in this life is change, which simply means you will always have a change. You are going to always be faced with some form of change. So it is important that at some point in your life, and I really suggest that if you're a very young person, to grab a hold of it now. I try to teach this to my children because I want them to understand it at a younger age, to make life a little bit more, not easier, but a little bit more smoother in certain areas if they go ahead now and accept the fact that the only thing that is consistent in life will be change. So we have to learn to adjust, right? And some things, whether you adjust to it or not, it's just going to happen, right? So the thing is, how can we take a hold of it and not allow it to take a hold of us? How can we adjust to it without compromising our physical and our emotional and our mental health? So that's important to understand that, people deal with divorce, people deal with death, people deal with loss of income, people deal with family structure that becomes chaotic, which was once maybe smooth. They deal with conflict in their work environment. Just different changes, right? And so you have to learn, how do we approach these different type of changes without it affecting us mentally, physically, and emotionally in a negative way. So we want to make sure, as we are right now still in the midst of a lot of changes and adjustments, and every day they change. Every day they change. And you almost have to look at it as if it will, especially right now. Like, you just have to accept that, right now you might be able to go inside of a restaurant and eat, and, you're going to be separated, spaces in between tables. But, right now you're allowed to go and eat and at least be inside and enjoy. But then it might come a time when they say, well, no more eating inside again. Right now people are able to go outside and eat because our weather is really good. But then when the winter months come, they obviously will no longer allow you to eat outside. So then there is another adjustment. There's so many things right now. Our children are learning from home, via the internet. And, it might be a point where they say, hey, they need to go back to school. These are adjustments and changes. Or they might say, no, they were expected to go back after the holiday break. But no, we want them to stay at home because, the numbers for COVID has gone up. and we need more time. So in other words, we just don't know. And I think that's the reality of it. I'm not an expert in any of these fields of medical science, and I don't have data to support anything. But I have eyes to see and ears to hear, and I can comprehend very well. And so I have seen a pattern of inconsistency. So therefore, I know that there is more inconsistency coming. So the reality of it is, because this is something that we don't really know enough about, anything that is being said is speculation. Let me say that again. Anything that is being said right now seems like pure speculation. We want to give the best of what we have now. The information that we have now, this is the best that I can give you based upon this little bit of information. Okay. So this little corner of information is what I have, and this is the best data that I have, and this is the best information I can give you from this little corner of information that I have. But then next week it will change. It will change. And then people get very upset, but because they see the inconsistency. Well, we don't know. There's not enough information to give. And to appease people, a lot of times people who are in positions of power and have a platform and have a responsibility, they release information just to appease the people, just to keep people at a relaxed stage, to calm them and not get them to be upset or stressed or frustrated or whatever. So sometimes they'll give information that, is not necessarily going to be consistent. So the sum of what I'm saying is that we are in an environment right now where all you see is inconsistency, which is just constantly changes. And so you get people who are very frustrated, very stressed out, very angry, because they are seeing so many changes. And then what you are seeing, because they are angry, because they are mad, because they are frustrated, because they are not informed, they are seeing the inconsistencies, they are making rash decisions that causes them to be exposed, and others around them to be exposed to COVID-19. And let me just say this. One of the examples that I'm going to say is that I saw a video on the news where a lot of individuals ran into a store, and they was telling everybody to take off their mask. They didn't have on a mask. They ran through the store and they were telling everybody to take off their mask and telling them, that it's their right to not wear this, the mask. They don't have to wear it and all this. Okay, let me say this. I'm not sure what your side is in regards to wearing a mask for the protection of COVID-19. I do not know what your personal views are in regards to wearing a mask. I know a lot of people are against it. They feel like it violates their rights. A lot of people are not against it. They feel like it protects themselves and against others, and protect others from them if they are a carrier of the COVID-19, because we do know so far, just by the interviews of individuals who have had COVID-19, that COVID-19 does not respond to everybody the same. We know that some people respond to COVID-19 with symptoms that put them in the hospital, and they are in there for weeks and months and come back needing rehabilitation and so forth, so on, starting their life all over again, learn to walk and eat and everything else. Some people are getting COVID-19. They're able to be treated at their own home, and within 14 days or so, they're fine. So it's not targeting people the same. We know that. So these people are in the particular video that I'm talking about, they're going through the store and they're saying this. So once again, I don't know what your views are, but let me say this. Irregardless to what your views are on the matter, that type of behavior to me is irrational. It's irrational. I'm gonna say it's irrational because whatever your view is, saying that you don't want to wear it, that's on you. But if this store says to you, no shoes, no shirts, no service, it's the same thing for a mask. They can tell you, I don't want you to walk around the store with your shirt off. They can tell you, I don't want you to walk around the store smoking a cigarette. They can tell you, I don't want you to walk around the store, without your clothes as a man or a woman, without your shirt as a man or a woman. So these are the rules that they can say as this store or as this place of business. So they can say the same thing when it comes to a mask, because they're protecting their business, they're protecting their consumers. And so for you to say, to go through the store saying, take it off, you don't have to wear it, it's your right. Well, it's their rights who are in there to say the same thing, to say, well, it is my right to wear it. I want to wear it. I want to protect myself. I want to protect my family. I want to protect those who I don't know. So once again, it's the irrationality of it. This is irrational. And that happens when you are seeing so many changes. People don't know what to believe. They don't know what side to take. They feel just as passionate about their side as you feel about your side. And this is all coming from inconsistency, the changes that we are all seeing over and over and over again. There's nothing that has been etched in stone about this whole pandemic. And so because of that, you're getting people who are acting irrational, people who are fighting, people who are killing people over them telling them you have to wear a mask. Come on. This is absolutely absurd behavior. We are acting as if we don't care for life. We don't value life. We don't care about ourselves. We don't care about our community. We don't care about the humanity. That's where we're acting like humanity, as if it does not matter because you tell me I have to wear a mask in order to receive services in your place of business. I want to hurt you. I want to put my hands on you. Better yet, I want to take your life because you told me that you won't service me. These people are doing their jobs. They're here working. They're trying to provide for their families. This is their place of business, and they're trying to provide for their families. And you go after a clerk, or you go after an employee who's just trying to enforce the rules of that place of business. I don't care what your view is. You have no right to spit, slap, put your hands on, or kill somebody based upon them telling you we have to enforce this rule or regulation. And it's amazing to me because you have never heard of anybody taking these type of steps because of somebody saying you have no shirt on, you can't come in here. You have never heard somebody say, taking these steps because someone say, you have no shoes, you cannot smoke in here. And then they just decide to take that person's life. But you have to understand the reason that this is going to the extent that it is going, because people are having a very difficult time adjusting to this pandemic, to these changes. Now, to you and many others who might be looking at it without looking into it, you might think this is just people being people, but it's just irrational behavior. This is stemming from a place of hurt, pain, and confusion. We are human beings. We are not designed to behave some of the ways that we have been seeing people behave, but they are behaving that way for several reasons. And one of the reasons that we're talking about today is all these different changes and inconsistencies. When people don't understand something, they seem to react and respond in an irrational manner. Even with racism, when you see people who don't understand, who has no experience with racism, they cannot comprehend it. They have no type of exposure to it. Then you get them to say things that makes no sense. They'll say things like racism does not exist. They'll say things like, we don't get that. I've never seen that. Well, of course, you've never seen it, but it does not mean it does not exist. It does not mean that it's not happening. People can see things with their own eyes, but because they don't have any real experience in it, they'll say, well, I don't, they'll blame everything in the world, everything, than what they have seen with their own natural eyes. And maybe last week, I had opportunity to share with some individuals in regards to racism and in regards to racism and Christianity and religious beliefs. And my thing that I share with them is, if we are all made in God's image, right? If you believe that as a believer, a Christian, if we are all made in God's image, when you see me, you should see yourself. When you see my children, you should see your children and your grandchildren. And if you see that, then put yourself in the place that you have heard or saw the videos that you've seen with your own natural eyes that was pure injustice, like pure racism, pure hatred, pure evil. Put yourself there. Explain to me, how is that okay? How is that okay for someone to be spit upon, someone to be pulled or hung by their neck with a noose because of the color of their skin? If you believe that we are all created in God's image, if you really believe that, then you know that I and you are the same. That when you look at yourself, you should see me. You should see my family and see your family. That's as simple as I can make it, even for a child. When you see my children, you should see your children. And you tell me that you will want to have that conversation with your little babies and tell them how they are looked upon differently. Not because of anything that they have done, but because of the way they are looked upon. So these type of views are coming from people not getting it, not understanding, not being put into a place where they have to see it. They have to understand it and appreciate that type of struggle. So we're talking about changes. And we're in a time right now where change is inevitable. It is inevitable. And it is necessary. And once again, something that I shared with someone over these past couple of weeks that I've been missing you guys, not sharing with you guys. But one of the things that I've shared is that before there is a real shift in something, it always is an unease in something. Not saying that everything is going the way it should be in the unease, but there will always be an uneasiness. There will always be a shakeup. There will always be some discomfort before you see a change. And so that is necessary. That is necessary because we need to do better as a community. Even as I stated regarding how we're handling this pandemic and how we're treating each other during this pandemic, you will really believe and think prior to everything that we've seen and heard that people would come together and love and support each other more than anything during a pandemic. You would really have thought and believed that because we are all in the same boat, same conditions, same, environment, that instead of us focusing on, not wanting to wear a mask or being racist or not being kind and respectful and loving man, my neighbor and mankind, you would really think that would be our focus instead of the opposite. You would think that our focus would be loving. Our focus would be, let me respect you. Let me treat you right. Let me be good to you because we are all in this together. You would really think that, let me go make sure that my neighbor is okay. If I see you in distress, let me come by and help you. Let me help pick you up. Let me hold you. Let me hug you. Let me love you. Let me make sure that you're okay. Let me make sure that your family is okay. Let me pray for you. Let me take your family and put it before God and your needs and not to see you suffer. I don't want to see you suffer. I don't want to see you hurt. I don't want to see you crying because we're dealing with so much as it is. I don't want to see you dealing with anything extra right now. You would think that people would be kind on the streets right now. You would think that people would be smiling more at one another and greeting one another more because of what we're going through as a society and what we're going through as a community. But what we have seen is the total opposite. We have seen people be hateful. We have seen people be mean. We have seen people be arrogant and hurtful to one another. And it blows my mind because instead of us killing one another and hurting one another and tearing one another down and trying to expose our differences in regards to saying that I'm better or a better version of what you are, instead of us doing that, you would think that we will be the total opposite. But we are not. And that's sad. That's sad. All of these changes have brought out the worst in us as a community. And I say this today because I want you to think about what you have done during this pandemic. Have you been a part of the problem, or have you been a part of the solution? Or have you done nothing? What have you done? Have you educated anybody on, what is right and what is truth? Or have you just, decided to keep your mouth shut? It's not my problem. It's not my issue. I'm not going to get involved. Or have you become a part of the problem? Which side have you taken? We want to make sure that we are adjusting to these changes in a positive way. We can take any environment, any situation, any event, and turn it around for something that can be productive and that can be good. But the way that we're going right now as a society and a community is absolutely frightening. I don't know if you guys know this, and I don't know how many young people I have that actually listens to this podcast. But one of the sayings that the young people say right now in regards to living is, I hate it here. I hate it here. So when something goes wrong, they'll say, I hate it here. I hate it here. And they say that a lot. And that is so sad and it's so depressing. They say it in a very joking way. But the concept is very sad. It's very, very sad that things are so hard and so tough and challenging, and all the news that they see and all the things that they're exposed to, that they would actually say, I hate it here. There's so many young people. If you ever get a chance to even look over TikTok, there's so many young people who are just ready to leave this world. They're ready to just go. They feel like there's so much that's happening. And it's crazy because this is not like even been an entire year. It's only been from March here where I am, where we've been in quarantine, and life had completely changed. So within several months, they are already just ready to give up on life. They're ready to just give in and go on, to the afterlife. And that is so sad. So we need to make sure that we're checking on our young people in regards to the changes and the adjustments. And it's not easy because I've had several conversations with my young people. And, it's difficult. This conversation is hard to have. They're seeing everything. They're exposed to all of it. And as adults are having a difficult time adjusting. So that young people are also even more having a difficult time in adjusting. But they are our future. So we have to invest into them and make sure that they're okay and make sure that they understand what's going on and how they can face this adjustments and changes in a healthy way. I want you to be a part of the solution and not the problem. That's been my motto for years. Years. I completely, absolutely, 100% believe in that, and I stick by that. You can make a choice today to look at all of the changes that we're going through as a community and take a positive position in that. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. But you have a responsibility to take a positive position, your own positive position, and make sure that you are handling all of these changes and adjustments in a very healthy and productive way. Talk to your children, talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to your loved ones, and begin to educate them. Anybody that you come in contact with, begin to inform them and educate them on the positive outlook, the positive stance and perspective on these changes. Some people are so out there in the field in regards to some of their views and perceptions in regards to what's going on in our community and society right now. It's not our job to save anybody. Our job is to tell the truth, be honest, and move on. Everybody will not receive what you say. Everybody will not receive my podcast. Everybody will not receive my views and my perspective and my faith. But that is okay. It does not keep me silent. It does not make me stop. So what you say is important. It's important. Someone is waiting to hear from you. Someone is waiting to hear your perspective. Just like you listen to somebody else. Just like you turn on the TV and want to hear from somebody else. This is why you turn on your radio or play that message that you downloaded. You've been waiting to hear that book that you read. You've been ready and waiting to read that. Well, someone is doing the same for you. Someone is needing to hear from you, your perspective, your views, your testimony. They need to hear from you just like you've been waiting to hear from somebody else. You are an encourager just as much as you desire to be encouraged. And sometimes we need to be reminded of that somebody else, thinks of you as an encourager. And we need to see that in ourselves every now and then. Just be reminded that you have something good to say, something positive to say. We're not all speakers, motivators, or any of that, but it does not minimize the power of your punch, the power of your words. So God bless you guys. It's been awesome. I love you guys. I missed you so much. I've thought about you throughout these couple of weeks, and I would promise to come back and do more and continue to find a balance in my life as I show you as well as find a balance in your life. God loves you guys. Remember that. But most importantly, He loves you. He's watching you. He will always be there with you, even through the end of time. He is there and He cares. God bless you guys. Love you. Have an awesome weekend. Bye-bye.